This is the Enhanced Shaman Mage Tower. They get Sygrin as their challenge. I'd rate the difficulty on this one like a 1 out of 5. It's pretty easy, but I would, don't underestimate it. You are gonna wipe, you are gonna run into problems. There is one overlap in the fight that is very, very difficult to deal with, which I'll talk about when we get there. But as for talents, it's pretty simple. I like Forceful Winds. You can go Elemental Blast. Storm Flurry is automatic. Earth Shield is really good self-heal. If you don't like it, you can run Static Charge or Spirit Wolf instead. But Earth Shield is just pretty much the best here. You just have to press it every now and then. Elemental Assault, Nature's Guardians are both really good, and then Sundering and Essence are just really high damage, and they're good with the fight. As for macros, I would set the Jarl as your focus, and I would use Frost Shock to slow him, like a Frost Shock focus macro, so that way you can just mindlessly slow him over and over every time you need to during the kiting phases, which are some of the hardest parts for the Shaman, because you're a melee, you need good pathing, you also need to do the runes at the same time, etc., etc. And later on in the fight for the bad overlap, you're gonna have to do like 3 or 4 mechanics all at the same time, and you're gonna have to kite him because you can't tank him. As for gear, I'd highly recommend the Ravage Seed Pod. This drops from the first boss of Emerald Nightmare. It's extremely good on this fight. It's just loads of damage. It's probably going to be your top damage. DST is really good from Gruul. If you don't get this, it's fine. You can use any damaging Legion trinket, but you can get 4 attempts at the Seed Pod per week. You can run it on every difficulty, so you should be able to get the Seed Pod. All right, as for the opener, I like interrupting Faljar immediately and pulling him over here with Sygrin, so I can kite for longer. And without further ado, let's get into the fight. So we interrupt here immediately. Pop all of our cooldowns. Crash lightning again. We're doing huge damage here. There's our slow. Here it is. Have to reapply our shield. Slow again. You're gonna have to slow him a lot. I'm gonna pop my move speed so I get all the runes in time. I don't want to take any hits. It's okay if you take a little bit of damage. I'm going to interrupt here so I can stack them up close to the middle.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Alright, Sygrin is going to have to be
2, 1.
hexed. I think if you don't get that hex in time, I think you can dispel it. I'm pretty sure you can dispel it. That's a lot of damage we just ate. Huh. That wasn't anything special, it was just a lot of mechanics. Oh, I'm standing in the seed pod covers up the green stuff, I guess. I'll grind some mana back here. Alright, so here's the Ancestral Knowledge. I gotta get more damage on him. I'm gonna blow. It's gonna be kind of hard to get over here. Interrupt. Just make sure you're in line. As you can tell, it's not the biggest deal if you...
5, 4,
Alright, we have to run
3,
out.
2,
And we're gonna have to hex
1.
Sygrin here. We just precast
1.
into it. As soon as this Blade Storm ends, I'm gonna run in, I'm gonna Seed Pod. I'm just gonna pop damage. I'm just gonna do as much damage as I can on them. I'm gonna have the soaks immediately. And the open space, the safe spots over here. just reapply my shield to myself. Just crash lightning. Increases your damage. Make sure you're in a safe spot. It's okay to drop a bit of damage, lose a bit of damage on this guy. Because the DPS, the burst requirement there isn't super high. And I've got my Ascendance back up, which lines up with the end of his cast. I'm gonna Seed Pod again. And we get our slow on the Jarl. At this point, we're just slowing him. We want to pull him kind of out of the center area because we're going to have another rune set here. There it is. Pop our move speed. We get all 3 runes, go to the safe spot. And there we go. That's the hardest overlap of the fight. Got one more rune
5,
set.
4, 3, 2, 1. 2, 1.
I'm gonna have to, I don't know if that's gonna work out. I'm gonna have to heal myself through it. The Hex came out like half a second late, I would say. So as long as I don't break that Hex, we should be fine. Yeah, as long as we don't break the Hex, we're fine. So we lose a tiny bit of damage, but we should be able to kill the Jarl pretty soon. Seed Pod right here. Alright, we just have to get to the safe spot here. Pop all of our cooldowns. Try to kill the Jarl. There he goes down. The rest of the fight is pretty easy. It's just hexing Sygrin. Dodging these. And bursting this guy on his casts.
2, 1.
We hex here. The hex is slightly late, but we get the interrupt off. I'm gonna pull away from Sygrin. Oh goodness. Because I really don't want to accidentally break Sygrin out of that hex and wipe at this point. I have Seed Pod available. I'm gonna use it to cleave them here in a second. Oh, the fight ended. He still had like 6%. Alright, and that's it for the Enhanced Shaman. Really not much to it, just except for that one really dangerous overlap where you're getting beat down by the Enraged guy. Just make sure you try to pull him to the edge of the room, so that way on the second rune set, you can soak those runes and stand in the safe spot and hex Sygrin all at the same time. It's the only difficult overlap.